Yeah, hi friends, Doc South here, and it's one of those days where it's April, and we get our share of warm days and we get our share of chilly days and kind of dreary days. And today, well, it's kind of on the dreary side, not hideously dreary, where you'd be just just crying as you drive down the road. No, this is just a chilly day if you got a sweater on and someone by your side. Well, it's not so bad, but still it's chilly. And I remember, this was back when I was a boiler consultant, and I would advise people as to how to keep their boilers free of scale and mud and corrosion and such, and which was and I wasn't too bad at it. And one of my customers on a day like this, where it's kind of murky out and chilly, not necessarily windy, but it's cold. You go outside without a jacket, you're going to regret it, right? Sooner or later. And this this one place, I would call on them, about every 2 months. About every 2 months. It was a big greenhouse complex down near Sunbury, Pennsylvania. Not too far, in fact, I think within spitting distance of the Susquehanna River, one of the branches anyway, I believe, if not the main branch. And by the way, don't go spitting in the Susquehanna, right? I think you can get a ticket for that. You should anyway, because it's a beautiful river. Oh gosh, it's a pretty river. But and I was riding along on the eastern shore and pulling into this Mr. Mertz's greenhouse. I don't know. I I don't think it was Mertz's greenhouse for the name, but that was the fellow who owned the place. He may have had another name for it, Sunbury Farms or some such thing. I don't know off the top of my head. Again, we're talking, oh, probably 50 years ago, 45 to 50 years ago. And he had these boilers that were like, picture a tin can laying on its side. He had two or three of those boilers, and oh, they were probably about laying on their sides like they did. I seem to remember oh gosh, they were probably about 25 feet long and about 8 or 9 feet, 10 feet in diameter, like a tin can, but very hot. And their job was to keep the greenhouse warm in winter, which is not so easy in Pennsylvania. He went through a lot of fuel, Mr. Mertz did, and and the boilers. Thanks to these products, we would put into the water to keep the uh, water from corroding the boiler and scaling up the boiler, etc. Uh, we kept those boilers in pretty good shape. He was pleased with the effort that was going into maintaining his heating system. Because in the middle of winter up in Pennsylvania, if his boilers went off, for one reason or another, they broke down and were gone for a week or two while they were getting repaired. He'd lose his tomato crop for the season, and well, that would be catastrophic. I mean, he had a number of acres under greenhouse conditions so that he could send tomatoes to the supermarkets all through the winter. And he did very well for himself. He was a good guy, too. I always thought he was a decent fellow. And if I told him, look, I want you to put 2 cups a day of this product into your boiler by way of the chemical feed line, you do that every day, things are going to look pretty good. And then once a week, this much of this product in there as well. Okay, and we should be fine comes inspection time, your boiler should look no scale, and it should look like it's endured very, very little, if any, corrosion. Corrosion. He was all for it. You go putting in one of those boilers. That's a lot of tomatoes. You can buy an awful lot of tomatoes for what one of those boilers costs. And yet, he'd use these the steam to get rid of weeds, to keep the boilers warm if it was keep the greenhouses warm if it was an abnormally chilly day, that kind of thing. And it was he had a good thing going, and you could find his tomatoes in many of the supermarkets around the area. I think, like I said earlier, he was good at it. And what I liked was, after I did all my testing for him and analyzed the water in the boiler and checked the boiler itself and all that, he'd always hand me a big old box of tomatoes that I could have. Yeah, he'd say, "Here, come on, here, for you." I said, "Wow, all these tomatoes?" And it'd be like, one of these big baskets of tomatoes. Oh, and they were red like it was August. Yeah. Oh, they were good. And, I'd be riding home thinking, man, I could just eat these like apples, but I better not. The wife, my first wife, Molly, would have killed me. And I wouldn't have blamed her, because these were good tomatoes. I'd bring them into the house, and Molly would call a few of the neighbors. She says, "God, we can't eat all these." I says, "Here, give some to the neighbors over there, and there you go." But yeah, I had tomato sandwiches instead of salami sandwiches as I went to my work sites. For the following for the next 2 or 3 weeks, it was tomatoes, and good. But yeah, I remember him. Gosh, I imagine he was. I'd say he's probably gone by now, or he'd be very, very old. But it's a decent fella, and those I don't know, today being kind of murky and chilly out. I know I'm going to be out in the cold working, probably pushing carts at the supermarket. I'll I think at one point I'll have to just go into the produce section and just kind of stare at the tomatoes a little bit. Remember good old Mr. Mertz and his tomato farm. And again, an indoor tomato farm. I don't think he grew them outside at all. I think they're all in greenhouses. And even in the summer, he had ways of ventilating the greenhouses. And that way, I think, too, he could keep the tomato bugs away, that kind of thing. Yeah, so it was, he had it down. He had tomatoes. Tomatoes was his middle name. Well, maybe not, but you get the idea. Good guy. I'm going to try to do more of these videos, remembering people that maybe I only knew for a year or two in my life, and yet how interesting or educational or devoted or decent they were. I should record that. I really should. So there's a lot of good people you come across in life, and sometimes you're only with them for a year or so, 2 years, and then they're gone. And you move on, or they move on. Yes. So anyway, I'll have to see what I can do. I'll see you later. God bless. Bye now. Have a good day.